Hi everyone. Today we're diving deep into the world of video games, exploring the perplexing realm of AAA titles. You've probably heard the term before, but what exactly makes a game AAA? And do these titles always guarantee success and adoration within the gaming community? I have to say, I was shocked when I researched the meaning of AAA in the gaming industry. In this video, we're going to discuss my findings and the impact it has in the gaming community. We'll also ponder a fascinating question: should the gaming industry adopt stronger standards? And finally, we'll take a closer look at Larian Studios' recent release, Baldur's Gate 3, a game that's setting new standards despite not fitting the AAA mold. See you on the other side. Before we dive in, let's clarify what we mean by AAA. Now, I'm going to go over some other industries that adopt a rating methodology as well. So, for example, I have here in the financial industry, for example, the term AAA is utilized to rate bonds and which bonds represent the safest opportunity, most likely to meet investors' financial goals. So, if a bond is rated AAA, its rating description is prime, which basically means that it's a safeguard for investors. It's a seal of quality and approval, if you will. In the same vein, the restaurant industry rewards coveted Michelin stars. Although the criteria and evaluation process, as shown here, used to award stars remains secretive, a restaurant with a Michelin star will be widely known for having high quality of product, and the chef will be regarded as a master in his flavoring and cooking techniques. Again, there's a correlation between the quality of the product and the rating. However, when it comes to the gaming industry, I was shocked to learn what identifies a game as a AAA game. The term AAA in games has to do with big budget titles that often come from well-established studios. These are the blockbuster releases. These games typically boast high production value, cutting edge technology, and expansive worlds that draw players in. The rating does not always mean quality. One of the first video games to be produced at a blockbuster or AAA scale was Squaresoft's Final Fantasy VII in 1997, which cost an estimated $40 to $45 million to develop, making it the most expensive video game ever produced up until then. With its unprecedented cinematic CGI production values, movie-like presentation, orchestra-like music, and innovative blend of gameplay with dynamic cinematic camera work. Its expensive advertisement campaign was also unprecedented for a video game at the time, with a combined production and marketing budget estimated to be between $80 and $145 million. In today's terms, that would equate to well over $250 million plus budget. But does being a AAA game automatically mean it will be liked and played by its intended audience? Hence, the purpose of this discussion. Unlike other industries mentioned where standards are equated with quality, in the gaming industry, standards are equated with headcount and size of budget. The gaming community's love for AAA games isn't always guaranteed. While these titles do come with grandeur and hype, it doesn't guarantee they'll hit the mark with players. Remember the eagerly anticipated video game Anthem? Online multiplayer action role-playing video game developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts. The game was released worldwide for PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One on February 22nd, 2019. It was a high budget and tons of marketing. Anthem received mixed reviews from critics who criticized it for its grind and shallow gameplay, technical aspects, and story, although its combat, flight controls, and visuals received some praise. Despite some positive sales achievements, the game failed to meet commercial expectations. Although BioWare announced in February 2020 that they would be reinventing the core gameplay of Anthem as part of a long-term plan, all future development was ceased in February 2021. On the flip side, indie games like Hollow Knight, the 2017 Metroidvania video game developed and published by independent developer Team Cherry, a small indie games developer from Adelaide, South Australia, have captured players' hearts despite not having AAA status. Quite the opposite, actually. Hollow Knight's development was partially funded through a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign that raised over $57,000. You heard that correctly. 57,000, not 57 million, by the end of 2014. It was released for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS in early 2017, and for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in 2018. After release, Team Cherry supported the game with 4 free expansions. That's right, free. No big studio behind the game, no huge marketing campaign, just blood, sweat, and tears from its development team to make the best game possible. Hollow Knight was well received by critics, with particular praise for its music, art style, world building, atmosphere, combat, and level of difficulty. By February 2019, the game had sold 2.8 million copies. The game was also nominated for Best PC Game in Destructoid's Game of the Year Awards 2017 and for Best Platformer in IGN's Best of 2017 Awards. It won the award for Best Platformer in PC Gamer's 2017 Game of the Year Awards, and Polygon later named the game among the decade's best. Now, let's talk about standards. We all know how the financial industry rates bonds with a AAA status in order to identify which bonds are financially stable and safe. And in the restaurant industry, we know they award those coveted Michelin stars for excellence. But should the gaming industry adopt similar standards to help players make informed choices? After all, we invest time and money into these experiences. It's a debate worth exploring, considering the vastness of today's gaming landscape. Speaking of standards, Larian Studios recently dropped Baldur's Gate 3, and the gaming world is buzzing. It still is, and it continues to rise. The buzz, that is. While not classified as a AAA studio, Larian's latest offering boasts a rich universe, as seen here, forward-thinking design, and a gameplay experience that's raising a lot of eyebrows in the industry. It's no wonder the majority of the so-called AAA studios are tempering expectations of future game development and going out of their way to advise us not to expect all future games to be held with the same standard Larian Studios has created with BG3. Let's look at Diablo 4. Apparently, according to the game's credits, had over 9,000 people on its development team. Again, if you take into consideration all the names that were credited on the game, it was over 9,000 people that was on the development team. Now, if we use the gaming industry standard, Blizzard/Activision is a AAA studio. It surely fits the current use of the term. It's big budget. They've created big titles spanning many years. But I ask you, Diablo 4 is floundering as we speak. Yet, when people make reference to the game, they make reference to the fact that it was created by a AAA studio. There's no correlation to quality, likeness to the fan base, It's simply linked to the fact that the studio that created the game fits the big budget stereotype. So I ask you, should we not be using the term AAA in a different light when it comes to labeling games? Should it not be used to identify quality when it comes to designing and gameplay, and not purely on the merit of balance sheet of the developer creating the game? The question arises, should we broaden our definition and expectation of what makes a game AAA worthy? Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that all AAA games are a disaster and all indie games are a success. We all know both sides have their fair share of failures and successes. The point of this discussion and my video is to contemplate whether or not we need some sort of rating system when it comes to the quality of the video game. One thought that I have is, since we've already adopted this AAA rating in the video game industry, we continue to use it in the way that it's being used today. Outlined here on this chart, that what separates indie games and AAA games, and we'll put AA games aside for now. So, as discussed in this video, you can see here the comparison between an indie game and a AAA game. The budget indie is typically thousands of dollars to $1 million, whereas AAA is 50 million plus. The marketing push on an indie game is word of mouth, whereas AAA, it could go as high as hundreds of millions of dollars to market the game. And then the team size. For an indie game developer, you're looking at very small teams consisting of one person to a small team, whereas in AAA games, it's 50, 100, thousands. So one thought is, we continue to use indie and AAA the way it's being adopted. I understand it's something that has been used since the 80s. But my point is, maybe we adopt another strategy on top of the use of AAA. And what I'm thinking is, currently in the video game industry, the ESRB, standing for Entertainment Software Rating Board, currently puts their stamp of approval on games that are suitable in a very summary-oriented way. Make sure that it's okay for kids to play the game. So it's put through their litmus test, and then they establish whether or not a video game is ESRB rated. And if you use their definition as seen here about ESRB, we are the non-profit self-regulatory body for the video game industry. Established in 1994, our primary responsibility is to help consumers, especially parents, make informed choices about the games their families play. And I want to focus on a couple of words there. Informed choices about the game. So the video industry kind of already adopts what I'm talking about when it comes to how the video game industry informs buyers of whether or not the game they're looking at is suitable for a kid. Here's an example. As you can see, this is W2K23 on the PS5, and on the label is the ESRB rating. So a parent, when is shopping with their kid, is looking at this game, and the child says, "Mom, Dad, I want to buy this game. the parent can be comfortable in knowing that this game was looked at and was rated suitable for the child. So my thought process is, let's keep the AAA indie game methodology. It's something that is already common and woven into the fabric of the video game industry. But maybe we adopt another layer on top of that for the video game industry. We do it for rating games for kids. Why don't we have some sort of stamp of approval, an association, you will, that looks at games from a quality perspective and not just the size of the team, the budget, the balance sheet. I will leave you with that thought. It's something I feel we should all consider. After all, we are the enablers of these developers when we purchase and support their titles. In this video, I tried to dissect the allure of AAA games, pondering the merits and pitfalls, and considered whether the gaming industry deserves stronger standards. In my humble opinion, I really do feel the gaming industry needs to establish stronger standards, but that's my opinion. We've also witnessed Larian Studios defy expectation with Baldur's Gate 3, blurring the lines between conventional categories. Perhaps it's time we acknowledge that excellence transcends labels and standards. As gamers, let's continue to seek out experiences that challenge, inspire, and reshape our expectations. And most importantly, let's continue to support the studios that continue to push quality of product over profits when it comes to game design. Here. I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope you found the content informative. Please don't forget to hit that like button. And as always, please, would love for you to share your thoughts in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinion on the content of this video. And of course, if you can find it in your heart to subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions, I would really appreciate it. We're a small little channel out in this internet universe, and I'm trying to grow it little by little, so your support would mean the world to me. For those of you that continue to support my channel, thank you so much. You have no idea what it means to me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep gaming and keep exploring the extraordinary.